it's not, when we know truly it is. So, it's good to be back, everyone. It's August in the town of Collingswood, in case you did not know that. Therefore, it is hot outside. And while some of us might really like the heat, some others might not like the heat. While the heat is a topic of many of the conversation, especially this summer. And our theme this month is the heat is on. The heat outside actually will not be what our focus is, but just a nod to how hot it is. We are going to go within this month. There's really only two. There's only really two Sundays left in this month because next week we won't be having one. We'll be out in the heat at the craft show. But I want to tell a little story about, it refers to the heat in a way. One August morning, an Oregon man left the cool and rainy environment of Portland, Oregon, for a Wednesday to Friday business meeting in Arizona. His wife was going to join him on a Friday evening and through the weekend, since they had such a wonderful deal on this resort price. When he arrived, he had only a few minutes before the meeting began, so he decided to send his wife a quick email letting her know that he arrived. But in his haste, he miswrote her email address. And his note instead went to an elderly preacher's wife whose husband had just transitioned the day before. While the grieving widow checked her email, she took one look at the monitor and let out a piercing scream and fell to the floor. She fell to the floor. At that sound, her family all came running into the room and they looked at this note on the monitor, which read, "Dearest wife, the trip went well, and I eagerly await your arrival in a few days. Your loving husband. P.S. It sure is hot down here." Okay, so that was just great. No more about the heat outside. Rather, we will focus on turning up the heat on some of the concepts that I would like us to explore this month. And today we blueprint where we can actively build the life that is an answer to the divine invitation that is always calling upon us. We are always divinely invited to, you'll find out. But this invitation, which resides within us, is always waiting for us to accept it. Oftentimes, when we are asked to describe what we want, we immediately begin describing what we don't want. For some reason, that seems to be the way with a lot of people. And while contrasting what it is with what it isn't is an important distinction, because you want to know what you really would like to experience in life. Eventually, we must be able to say what the answer to the divine invitation looks like and claim it as ours. And today we clarify. We clarify and claim our blueprint for our life. Just like the architect discovers what building design wants to come through him or her, and then build a blueprint of the building, so must we create a blueprint for our lives, for our inner God-driven lives that really is so filled with these urges and these desires. Just remember and recall when you were a child and you really wanted to do something. You really felt the fire. People would say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we really had answers, right? We knew what we wanted to be and we were excited about it. That's what I'm talking about this morning. If we dive below the surface of the concept, we find that there really are three different aspects to blueprinting. The life that is our answer to the divine invitation. And that's what we will explore today. So they are discovering, designing, and deserving. We're going to go over all three of those. This is how we blueprint. And we're going to look at all three. We discover the dream. And the dream is our vision. That's what the dream is. Before an architect can draft the blueprints, he or she first has to discover what the vision of the building is. We receive a divine invitation. We awaken to the dream, which is the urge of spirit pressing from within to be more fully revealed in a more expansive way. And there's two ways that it can be revealed. A longing within us, this heartfelt desire for a freer, fuller, more expansive expression of life, of living, as they say, life full out. Really wake up and start really living. Well, there's something in us that is calling for us to do. And the other is discontent. And that's that unsettling feeling from within when something isn't complete, that we just know that there is more. And I know that we've all been through these different stages. Have you ever felt like you were a little stagnant? Like you needed something more? That's what happened to me, as many of you know. When I needed something more, you know, that in my spiritual knowing, I needed more because I know that it's infinite. And so that's when I signed up for, and I found, it took me a long time to find him, as you know. I did stalk the teacher at 2 different conferences until he finally got me in the class. And so I took this class and I felt alive again. It's exactly what was in me. I didn't know what it was, but when it showed up, that urge revealed itself to me. And that's what we don't know. And let me tell you, from that class, all kinds of things have unfolded that I could never have imagined. You know what I'm talking about when you decide to make a decision of fulfilling something within you, a desire within you. What takes place? All kinds of things. All kinds of things unfold. So we discover the dream, which I think So that's the first part of it. And there are 2 signals indicating that we are not currently living life that is ours to live, and really it's meant for us to live. We know if we have those feelings of longing and discontent. And so we begin to discover the dream by asking certain questions. What would answer my longing and dissolve my discontent? It's one question. What would I love to do, be, or have? What would give me life? This is so perfect, this talk, for the visioning workshop that's taking place today downstairs. It's only an hour. Because we vision God's highest and best good for our lives, for our souls to expand. So this is perfect. Just by asking, though, these 3 questions, you've made some space for the expanded possibilities that when you answer that or similar questions, you are actually giving God a greater space, a greater outlet to express through. The divine created us to express through us. So if we're closed off, there's no room for that expression, that expansion to take place within us. There's no room. We're stuck. Genevieve Barron, a great writer and a very interesting person, we studied her in our Prosperity Plus class, was the only student of Thomas Troward. And Thomas Troward, if you don't know, was extremely influential in the New Thought movement. He lived in the 1880s into the 1900s. And he never took students, but he took her because of her persistence. So from her studies with him, she wrote, "Your Invisible Power." So I'm going to be quoting from that. As you grow in this is what Genevieve Barron wrote. As you grow in understanding as to who you are, where you came from, and what the purpose of your being is, and how you are to fulfill the purpose for which you are intended, you will become a more and more perfect center through which creative spirit of life can enjoy itself. And I love that last concept. You will become more and more a perfect center through which the creative spirit of life can enjoy itself. And if the creative spirit of life is enjoying itself, so are you, because we are all one. We are God in action on this planet. We have these forms that make us look like we're not. But what is God? What is God? God is pure consciousness. God is pure energy. That's what God is, and that's what we are. A poet went to see his doctor because he was quite ill, emotionally and physically. And the poet said, "Doctor, I have all kinds of symptoms. I'm unhappy, I'm uncomfortable, my arms, my legs, even my hair, all feeling as if they are being tortured." The doctor answered, "Is it not true that you have not yet given out your latest poetic composition?" "That is true," the poet said, "but I fail to see what that has to do with my ailments." "Nevertheless," said the physician, "be good enough to recite it for me now." He did so, and at the doctor's orders, he recited it again and again, and then again. And after the third reciting, the doctor said, "Stand up. You are now cured. What you had bottled up inside you affected your outside. And now that it is released, you are well again." And the man stood up and found out he truly was healed. That which was wanting to come forth from him was bottled up. And so when our emotions and our spirit is bottled up, it starts turning into physical symptoms. Jesus said the same thing. It's a little interesting way of, I'm going to talk a little history here. Jesus said the same thing, but in a different way. According to the Gospel of Thomas, which is a gospel not contained in the book we know as the Bible, but rather it is found in the collections of preserved writings that were found in Egypt in 1945, called the Nag Hammadi Library. It is made up of 13 ancient leather-bound books containing 55 texts. The books were all hidden together in a large sealed jar in the Egyptian desert for approximately 1,500 years. This is like so amazing. When they were unearthed, they were in remarkably good condition. The text in the Hammadi library date from the 1st, 2nd, and maybe the 3rd century of the Christian era, and primarily represent previously lost or unknown Christian sacred writings often described as Gnostic. You might have heard the Gnostic Bibles. This would be them. Notably included among the texts was an edition of the Gospel of Thomas, which is a compilation of things that Jesus said, not things that were said about him, as the Bible said about him. He didn't sit down and write the Bible. And one of them was, if you bring forth what is within you, it will save you. If you do not bring it forth, it will destroy you. Couldn't be any clearer than that, the point that we're trying to make this morning. Our blueprinting begins when we deeply listen to the divine invitation to discover what to bring forth so that spirit may be expressed here on earth. Because that's what we are doing in these human forms. Truly what we are doing. All the rest is noise. Noise and fear and all that other stuff that's going on. But what we were created to do is bring forth our individualized spirit. So what is it for you, my friends? What is it for you? What makes you come alive? It doesn't have to be a huge purpose in life. And this is where a lot of people get stuck, because they think it has to be this great big huge invention or something like that. Very easy to get stuck there, but it's in your heart, in this moment, what it is. And it is big enough, no matter what it is. Remember that the universe doesn't know the difference between small and large. It only knows the desire. That's all it does. So let me tell you right here and right now that whatever comes up for you is the right and perfect thing. Right here and right now. It can change. It can evolve. It can morph into something different. But right now, what comes up is what you go for. That brings us to designing the dream. This is our vision, remember. Once we discover what makes us come alive, it is time to begin designing the dream, which is your vision. It is a picture of the life that you are living after you have answered the divine invitation. In religious science terminology, we call it a mental equivalent. Remember, the universe, infinite, God, spirit, consciousness, thinks in pictures. And it's written down in word form with feeling and emotion. Oftentimes when we create vision boards, which is different from visioning, to depict the real pictures of our mental equivalent, which we will do, as was announced in September 8th, with our practitioner, Dana Smith. We're going to create vision boards with pictures, with words, with something visual that we can keep, because they really do work. Anyone that has done them knows that they work. So here's a question that I've been asked before. Which is more effective? To write your vision down and then forget about it? Or to read it every day and spend time with it? Writing it down and forgetting about it got some really good press in the movie The Secret, if you remember that, We just watched it in the Law of Attraction class, yeah. Remember John, how was it? Asaraf, remember he pulled out, his child came in, and he pulled out this big vision board that had been stored away before he made this big move that he had just finished, and he moved into this new house, and he packed it away, only to find out that the home he now moved into was the exact picture that was on his vision board. And these are the kinds of, it's how I manifested Steve. I put him on a vision board. It didn't look like him, but it had gray hair. I wasn't looking for somebody with dark hair, But that's how we manifest. Sorry, Steve, but you were manifested. Not against his will, though. We never cross other people's will. Right. It's very important to remember that. He probably had a vision board of his own. Anyway, back to here. So the question is then, which is it, an either or? And the whole point is, that is being out of alignment, either or. It's either and. Then we're in spiritual alignment. There is no or in the nature of pure consciousness. There's no or. There's either and. All of it is possible. All of it is possible. So then we have Napoleon Hill, if you've heard of him, incredible writer of the book Think and Grow Rich. Great book. That we should read our vision board every morning, our vision every morning and every night before we go to bed. But what if reading it brings frustration? Because that can happen too. After 6 months, 8 months, a year. Some things I've manifested have taken years to come forth. Years, but boy, are they worth it when they do. And we never give up hope. So that frustration, though, by reading it every day and not seeing it, can come forth. So then, as I said before, which is more important? Just writing it, putting it away, or looking at it every day? A really important point. It really is, to be in a spiritual alignment with the fullness of the either and thinking. That is like the key for the Spirit to flow fully and perfectly through us. What we want to develop is the consciousness of full acceptance, of accepting all of it. Because in everything there is a lesson for us. I know this. In everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. There is a lesson for us to evolve through if we look at it correctly and include it. Not push away, but include everything into our vision. So it's very, very helpful in developing that consciousness to read the vision every day. That expedites the manifestation from the unformed to the formed. Everything is unformed substance, right? Energy is unformed substance. We give it form through our thinking, through our emotions and feelings. We give the unformed, we give it a form in our lives. That is when we get to consciously and deliberately step up and really realize how big our God is. It's infinite. It's not a man sitting on a chair, that's for sure. It is infinite consciousness. And scientists are proving this now in quantum physics and even beyond that. They're proving this right here, right now, that everything is consciousness. Everything. Because they don't have another word for it. They're trying to discover a word for consciousness. But we all know what that is through our teachings here. So daily review is really important. We also get to test drive our design, so to speak, to make sure that it still fits. You know, we manifest what we want. We want to make sure that it still fits because it might evolve and something even better is in that vision. The final activity of blueprinting then in this stage is very critical. This is the third stage, and it is deserving. We must believe we deserve the dream. How many visions or thoughts that I've had as a child, I only wanted one thing, and that was to be an actress. That's all I ever wanted, so I was always performing. Hello, I'm at the mic. But it manifests in different ways. But and I lived in Manhattan, every opportunity presented itself to me. Here it is. No, that's okay, I'm not doing that, No, turn that one down, turn it, because I didn't realize it then. I didn't feel worthy enough to deserve that vision. And so that was subconsciously working through my denying. So eventually, after doing a lot of spiritual work, I became quite clear. I didn't know, as I've said before, I didn't know that it was going to be a spiritual center. But I focused on my clients. I was a practitioner minister. I focused on my clients. I focused on the classes. And that's where I knew I was headed until someone came up to me. They always come up to me. I never go up to them. They came up to me, Mary Carol, she was standing right next to me, and said, I see you. She lived in a church. I've said this before. And she said, I had a dream. Not Martin Luther King, but a little white lady, and said, I see you speaking in my church in front of people. So we just start these little Friday night things once a month with Lou Doty as my musician. I gave the talk, we just did this. And then I was working at Starting Point, kind of. I don't know, somebody got me in there. I didn't even want to go in there, but I was doing sessions. And Vince DiPasquale, if you know this wonderful man, yes, we love Vince DiPasquale, he's still running it, said, why don't you do your spiritual center here on Sundays? I said, give me a minute to think about that, because I was going there to quit anyway. And I said, okay, we'll do it. So 3 weeks later, Joyful Gathering Spiritual Center. It just unfolded, just like that. But the vision came from when I was very young and wanted to, I thought, be an actress. But it wasn't that. It was still to be in front of people for some reason. That's the soul's pulling, but in a different format. And this time I said yes. And when I said yes, so many people needed to leave my life for this vision to become authentic. As you know, my wrong marriage left my life, thank God. But it was to make room for integrity, for living a life authentically. That couldn't be. That would have been sabotage. I would have said no. So anyway, we are born with a dream in us. I believe this. Each and every one of us. And it can morph in different ways. But the feeling worthy enough to accept it when it shows up is so very important. And once again, from Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Barron, she wrote, the power that brought us into existence did so for the purpose of expressing its limitless supply through us. There is no power on earth that could cut us off from our source except our own consciousness, our own set of beliefs. And she continues, before you entertain the idea of making a mental picture of your desire as being at all practical, you must have some idea of your I amness. I am enough. I am worthy of all the good the divine could want to express through me. That is so important. Don't let this brain thought keep us stuck, because that's what it does. I'm going to switch very slightly topics here, but it goes with it. How many of you have a virus protector on your computer? A few of us. Not everyone. Very good. Well, I got about 10 of them. I got to get that cleared up. It gets confused. Would you be willing to install a virus protector in your mind so that you can claim your vision as your own? Keep your mind feeling not good enough when we go to those places. Those are where the viruses exist. So we need to have that virus protector in our mind to block all undeserving feelings away from us. So let's install a viral protector in our mind right now, if you like. Put your hands over your heart, and please repeat after me. I deserve to manifest the life of my dreams.
I deserve to manifest the life of my dreams.
I deserve to experience joy, love, peace, and prosperity.
I deserve to experience joy, love, peace.
With feeling, lots of emotion in there, I want to hear. I deserve to simply because I am. And that's the truth. It really is, simply because I am. And I'm not finished yet. I'm almost finished, I promise. This is a wordy one, but it's really important because the vision, you know, that we follow the vision, not the fear. We don't let the fear get in the way. We don't let the self-doubt get in the way. We follow our vision. She also writes, again, in Your Invisible Power, your personal advance and evolution depends upon your right use of the power of visualizing, and your use of it depends on whether you recognize that you yourself are a particular center through which the originating spirit is finding ever new expression for potentialities already existing within itself. This is evolution. Remember, she wrote this in the early 1900s, so her language is stilted, but it's truth. Truth is truth. So we blueprint our vision by discovering what we would love to be, do, or have, by uncovering what life would bring to us. We blueprint, designing that life in words and pictures, and finally we blueprint by realizing that we deserve, absolutely, completely, and totally deserve this life because of who and whose we are, and so we claim it. Before Genevieve Barahan studied with Troward, she studied his writings. He's an incredible, incredible writer. There was one passage from the D-O-R-E lectures that she endeavored with all her soul to enter into the spirit of the words. So this morning, let us end, and this is like a prayer. This is Thomas Troward's words. So just take a deep breath and You can close your eyes or whatever and just listen to the words. My mind is a center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. And this means the production of something beyond what has gone before. Something entirely new, not included in the past experience, though proceeding out of it by an orderly sequence of growth. Therefore, since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, it must operate the same manner with me. Consequently, in my own special world, of which I am at the center, it will move forward to produce new conditions, always in advance of anything that has gone before. And that, my friends, is from one of the greatest New Thought writers, Thomas Troward, and he knew, we know, that we are capable of anything that we can dream of. We just need to believe in ourselves. Believe in it and really proceed forward, evolve. Don't stay stuck. There's so much more to life than being stuck in the same place that you're not happy in. It's all about happiness. And so it is.